In this video, I'd love to share with you a little bit about what stress actually is, how to notice it in our body, and actually what function it serves. And stress, like anxiety, like chronic exposure to that stress hormone called cortisol, can actually lead to the belief that we are fundamentally unwell in our bodies and our minds, that we are anxious people, or that something is wrong with us. But the key here is to highlight the fact that we all have these emotions in our bodies and they come and they go. So I would love to propose an alternative way to make sense of these different emotions, to the point where you might be able to learn to recognize them quicker and actually manage to stay calm in moments of adversity. And easier said than done, but it's actually possible to train your body to notice when you're activated and then take responsible action. Right, so I'd love to share with you why we are such unique and complex human beings. We all have a nervous system that is responsible to communicating directly to our brain how we're feeling and so on. And the brain is therefore also sending signals when it feels like we are under threat, to take responsible action, as in fight, flight, freeze, flop, and fawn. So you may wonder, what part of the brain is responsible to send out those signals to our body to start reacting or responding to this perceived danger or threat? That part of the brain is called amygdala. And it's a small part of the brain, but it's very, very important because it is supposedly the smoke detector of our body. So it goes off when it feels like something is happening that is very, very dangerous. It's entirely responsible for our survival. And when that part of the brain gets activated, the signals are being sent to the body. What do you notice when you are under stress? Do you feel like your heart starts beating quicker and faster? Your muscles are getting pumped. You might be palpitating, sweating, perspiring. All sorts of different things might happen to you. And it's a very common state to be in, but it's also really useful to be in that state. Imagine if a real danger was actually going to happen to you, i.e., what if a tiger would jump at you, or you were actually about to get harmed by someone physically? Then that response is so helpful in those situations. But what if that response is also activated in our everyday life? We might be scrolling on our phones, on social media. We might be listening to the news, or having an argument with a friend, or just a discussion with a partner, and suddenly we sense that we are going into that flight-fight response. Our amygdala is firing and our body is feeling pretty charged in that moment. How do we become better aware of our bodies to not be hijacked by this response, this stress response that we all have? Too much cortisol, stress hormone in our bodies, which is what is being released when we are activated, isn't good for us. This might lead to chronic exposure to stress, long-term damage, which means we might actually develop insomnia, real inconsistency in mood swings. Of course, this could lead to a diagnosis as well, chronic anxiety, depression, gut health issues, IBS, and so on. So there are loads of different risks with the exposure of stress, but there are ways to making sense of it. The more we learn about our stress response, the more we learn about our nervous system that is activated the time we feel like we are in danger, and we know how to regulate ourselves, i.e. calm that stress response down, the better action we can take, and we can become more present in the moment, and this can massively help us. So in this series of videos and programs, I'll be teaching you how to regulate yourselves. And this could be through emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping, but also mindfulness, breath work, exercises as well. So I hope you enjoy this little introduction to what our stress response is and how unique our bodies are, and that we actually are trying to protect ourselves. Our body is doing the best it can to protect ourselves when we perceive ourselves to be in danger. But learning how to become more aware about it is the key here. So I hope you enjoy.